Yeah, hopefully he's all good. Just walked off, had a head knock earlier in the game. So hopefully all good as we get ready for the second half.
Expecting to see plenty of new faces out there among the second half combatants as we go here. Ned Long out there for the Hawks, the rookie. Newcomb still out there doing his thing as well, giving chase. He was really good in that first half of football. Granger Barras is able to cut it off across the back 50. So the Hawks, a little bit more scoring in that third period, but really get a hell of a lot going for the most part. Locked up across half forward here. Inch going in ruck. Finlay McRae out there for the Pies, who's one that they'll be pretty keen to see get plenty of opportunity in season 2020. Shields there for Hawthorn. Accepts the handball. It's back toward the boundary line and can't combine with Hardwick.
Change the strips, the Hawks in the training jumper, I guess. The alternate strip. The Pies just going for the all black number. That's really worked for them so far in this game.
Stick with what you know and stick with what's worked. Mason Cox is up in the ruck, chases it toward the boundary line with those prescription goggles on, slams it inside the forward 50. That's all the Hawks back there. Frost, showing his dash and really showing the full Sam Frost experience. He turns it over. Harrison pokes it forward for Collingwood, throwing a boot at it is Henry. Frost has another go. He's besieged. He got absolutely mobbed. Harrison's there again for Collingwood. Left foot kick. Couldn't clear the traffic, and they pile in at full forward for the Pies.
Love Frosty. Players love Frosty. Geez, he has a go, but probably not his strongest suit. His foot skills coming out of the back line. You always got your heart in your mouth.
His ambitions and capabilities, and they can get a bit topsy-turvy at times, but geez, certainly aggressive. And a free kick coming from the stoppage here, and Big Darcy Cameron will take it for the Pies after the ruck lottery's been awarded.
Up against his old mate Max Lynch.
Yes, had a pretty good season last year, did Big Darcy. 22 goals on the campaign from 18 games for the Pies. Sky's just getting a little darker here at Morwell this late afternoon. Cameron lines up for the first of the second half and tugs it to the left.
Got some big units, the Pies. Add Cameron and Kruger into the mix, joining Cox and Grundy, whether it's up forward or changing through the ruck.
I've just encountered...
Look good, most of those boys.
Absolutely. I've encountered an issue here, Steve, that the listeners at home won't care about. I've got a 4-pen, and this is a 6-quarter game. I don't really know where to go next.
You're in trouble. Well, we thought we rocked up here doing 25 minutes, and I think maybe Craig and Sam have spoken to each other, and now it's 30-minute 6 periods. So
brainstorming on the drive down the
on
Princess
the way down,
Freeway.
know each other pretty well, so just working it out to suit themselves, I think.
Big fly there in the pack. Granger Barras, who got upstairs for the Hawks and tried to bring it down. Daniel Howe, who had a great season last year for Hawthorn, to McDonald. Have you been impressed by so far, Steve?
Yeah, I have. He's done some nice things today. It's been more so the last few weeks. Track whisperers and also in the intra-club games, he's looked comfortable at the level, and I think that's always a good sign when they're not rushed, making good decisions with the footy when he's got it in his hands. So it'd be a big asset for Hawthorn this year, hopefully.
Lynch slaps it out in ruck. Warple's been good. Reef McInnes there, who, along with Finlay McRae, and they combine, two of the young midfielders looking for some opportunity this year for Collingwood, and Frost cuts it off and just whacks it back the other way, and it's pretty easily read in the end by Isaac Chugg for the Magpies. One of their rookies, Tasmanian. Sends it inboard. Now Poulter's got a chance, and maybe a free kick or a 50 here. And Caleb Poulter's going to be waltzed inside the arc.
Pick up what happened there. Dan Howe on the mark, maybe infringed, held on, or tried to hold him up. Umpire's red hot, setting the tone for the year.
So 11 games last season. Yeah, Drossen product from the Yorke Peninsula in South Australia. Only kicked the 2 goals last year, but that's a pretty nice strike on the left boot. And Caleb Poulter's straight into the action, and Collingwood continue on their scoring ways.
Just don't stop kicking goals, the Pies. Doesn't matter who it is. Changed a few things around. Some new faces out there. Here's another one, just trying to pick up what... Yeah, so I think he's just encroached over the mark, taken 1 or 2 steps too far and paid the ultimate price, and Poulter made no mistake. Another one goes in the book for the Pies. It's how many goal scorers they had without putting you on the spot.
I've got it at 7. So
Yeah.
5 for Elliott, 2 for Kruger, 3 for... make it 8. So 3 for Ginnivan, 3 for Mychek, 3 for Cox, and 1 each for Poulter, Dacos and Lipinski.
Been a good spread. They looked super dangerous going forward. I mean, that was a bit of a gift, that one, but sharing it around, had a lot of looks today, the Pies.
Plenty of opportunities for their 19 goals for. So not only have they had plenty of chances, but they've been pretty dead-eye in front of the sticks too.
Yeah, and you can see by the flags in the background, those signage flags in the background, they're waving around all over the place. So they've done really well to kick as accurately as they have.
Warple takes it away from the stoppage. It's misread off hands. A golden opportunity here for Kajitsky, who steams into the open sticks. And he's able to slot through his first of the day.
Take them any way you can get. As a forward, nice when they fall into your lap like that. Just with a bit of the wind carrying the ball, it's just broken through the defender's hands there, and Cozzie's done the rest. Love it when that happens. Good feeling when there's no one between you and the goals. Got the downhill skis on. You always find a yard, funnily enough, when you're running towards goal.
You're like the Super G or the Mogul in the Winter Olympics, flying downhill.
Yeah, not so easy when you're running back towards your own goal, unfortunately. No. I've found.
Especially back into the wind if the Hawthorn defensive goal in this quarter. Coxie's there at the restart. Mitchell slams it forward for the Hawks. Bouncing ball taken by Madgen. Got taken in the tackle. He got nailed. And some good pressure from the Hawks here. And it'll be Long who'll have an opportunity.
Great tackle from the young fella. Just imagine, just wanted a little bit more time, but Ned Long, he's got a big, strong body. Such a young prospect. Hopefully he's gone back, knows what to do around goals.
On the rookie list, had lots of injuries in his draft year. He's a very rangy customer. Sinks the right slipper into that. Just fades to the right-hand side. Shown plenty, some of these young Hawks. We've seen Ward early on. Even Newcomb, who's only in his second season, has been outstanding.
Brambles, another one.
Yep.
And, now Ned Long and a few others getting their opportunity in this second half of this game.
Driven out to the wing. Cameron over the top, fist it down. Howe gets there for the Hawks. There's going to be a free kick. And they'll go to Denver Granger Barras, who's keen to move it on quickly. Howe hooks it to full forward for Hawthorn. Mark dropped in defence for the Pies. Maybe a high tackle against Murphy. Through the traffic. The opportunity again for Hawthorn. And they've got another to start this term. And that one through the agency of Dylan Moore.
Just hard work. Well done by Denver Granger Barras, looking to be proactive and move the footy quick. Get it in long with the wind. Just create something out of nothing. Dylan Moore for the last season and a bit. Been really dangerous for the Hawks inside 50. He doesn't need a lot of opportunity. Just stays involved. Picks it up. Works his way through traffic. Great sidestep. Kicks it straight through the middle. Some good signs for the Hawks. The end of that third period and the start of this fourth one now. Being able to string multiple goals together for the first time in this match and get the game played on their terms for a long period of this game so far. It's been Collingwood kicking bags of goals in a row, but chance for the Hawks to grab some momentum.
Halfback Rusco, little handball through the traffic. Callum Brown sprints clear for Collingwood. Kicks inside the 50. The dribbler from McInnes, only just missed. Left it a little narrow. That was nice on the left boot.
Knew what he was doing, didn't he? Just wanted to that ball just shape around. Got the right to left working, just a little bit sharp on that occasion.
Here's another one that they expect a bit out of. Didn't get a chance last year, Reef McInnes, after being taken in the 2020 draft, but should find his way into some senior action this season. Imagine across halfback, the number 23 for the Pies. Coming board, Murphy. Roscoe just has to sit under that in the centre square. No one within Kui of him. Darts the kick inside the 50. Lovely presentation, and McInnes is on the end of this.
You're tearing your hair out if you're Sam Mitchell on that play. There's no way a player should be in that much space to be able to switch the football essentially from one side to the other and be able to stand there and then be able to play on without any pressure and deliver it inside 50. Defenders be tearing your hair out.
So Reef McInnes, 23 pick a couple of years ago. This time on the right boot. He left the last one to the left-hand side, and he leaves that out to the right. I see a number of VFL players littered throughout this second half of the game too. So Hawthorn named 10 from Box Hill, and Collingwood 6 or 7 from their VFL program on their side for this afternoon. Here's one of them for the Pies in Sam Glover. Newcomb again. She's a hard worker. Takes a bit to bring him down. He sprints clear of the contest, sends it to half forward. Jekka's out to meet it, rolls around on the right boot, spears the pass inside the 50. Lovely delivery, and Lewis will get a look at the sticks.
You're saying about the VFL players getting some exposure at this level. It's such a good thing to see that they'd be absolutely rapt to get the opportunity to play with some of the Hawthorn and Collingwood listed players out there today. Just do so much for their learning and development. But you're excited with that piece of play. John Newcomb busting out of congestion on the wing, and Mitch Lewis ends up with the footy inside 50 after a nice kick from Emerson Jekka, setting him up through centre half forward. So really interesting to see how Emerson goes this second half. Hopefully he can get going for the Hawks.
Couldn't quite find the finish there, Lewis. From the set shot. That was a nice build-up from Hawthorn. Something they certainly struggled to do in the first and second term when Collingwood dominated possession. A bit of a, so going to say there was some good pressure and a little bit too much pressure perhaps, as free kick given away by McInnes. Rusco to take it for the Pies. Kick short to Henry. Said at half time you like the look of Ollie Henry, Steve?
Yeah, you can just tell straight away. He just looks like he's got the tricks to work at the AFL level. He just makes good decisions. He's poised. He gets into good spots. He's got good awareness around him of what's going on.
His brother Jack, a hell of a player down at Geelong, brought on to Australian last year. In the pocket here, Poulter tied up against the boundary line, kicks it to full forward, centering ball. Pretty easily picked off by the Hawthorn defence.
Keller, is it, working back in defence?
Another one of their pickups in recent times out of the Box Hill program. A good juggling mark from Lewis up on the wing. Stayed with the play, good concentration. See a lot that he likes immediately. Imagine backed off on the mark. Lewis sends it defensively, and they'll start the passage again through Scrimshaw. Hardwick featured in that second term and done so since. Scrimshaw, that's a nice delivery. Try and build it forward here. It was a scrubby kick, but an effective one at the end. It ends up with Warple with a flying shot on goal, and he misses to the left-hand side.
Just a more patient build-up, that one, where Mitch Lewis, probably in the first three quarters, are looking to go forward instead of switch the play and work it through Collingwood defence, but they're able to, on that occasion, Jackson Callow scrubbing the kick, but he had to play a free, and James, without a lot of pressure, probably should have done better with that kick.
Good mark from Cameron, who gets upstairs and pulls it in. It's going to be important as that secondary target for Collingwood up forward. Goes short to Chug, back to Cameron. Kicks up the line, big pack around the footy, and it's rushed over. Might be Nathan Murphy who got bustled into on the bench there. McGuinness is into it with Tyler Brown.
Right near the Collingwood bench. Finn just making him earn it over the boundary line there. And plenty of feeling in this one.
Brown boys combined. Tyler to Callum for Collingwood. Goes inside the 50. There's been plenty of spirit in the game, especially early on. Free kick coming to the Pies here in the marking contest.
Yeah, Granger Barras just caught out of position, didn't have eyes on the footy when he made contact. So the umpire had no choice there but to pay the free kick against the Young Hawks defender, who, again, is highly touted. The first pick overall in last year's, or the 2020 draft. Got high hopes for Denver Granger Barras going forward, the Hawks.
Pretty tough place to play a trade as a young player, though. Here's Ash Johnson, mid-season draftee for the Pies last year. Didn't get his chance through injury, and he misses an opportunity in front of goal there on the right-hand side. But they're pretty excited about what he might be able to provide with his physical tools. Ash Johnson.
A lot of big bodies inside that Collingwood forward line at times, with Cox and Kruger, and big targets for the Collingwood players up the field.
Cameron and Grundy going through there. All haven't been out there necessarily at the same time in this altered format game. As Mitchell clears the pack for the Hawks. Long inside the 50. 3 Hawks fly for the footy. Kajits gives it the front. Lewis is out the back, and Moore's underneath it all. Tries to scrub it forward. They'll just force the football, almost willing it forward here. Soccer off the ground for the Hawks. Has found the marker. And is it Ned Long who snuck one home for Hawthorn?
It is. Just again, just through effort. Just not giving up on the play. 3 players flew for it, which isn't ideal, but great work by McGuinness at ground level, and it was almost an errant kick of Long. That dribbled through. He'd feel good about that. Big body up, playing through the midfield and resting up forward. He's been a target a couple of times, already had a shot and kicks that one. So holding their own, the Hawks, after probably the first half being dominated by the Pies in spurts of goals. Being able to even it out the last couple of terms in this game.
So 3 goals in the quarter for Hawthorn. Premiership Hawks Steve Gillam alongside Joel Peterson here on KO Sports on your Friday evening. 91 players named to play in this game over 6 quarters, so 180 minutes of footy. It'll be a tired old trip back up the freeway, you'd imagine, as Lynch launches inside the 50 and finds Lewis.
Starting to feel confident at the level. Mitch Lewis rising in confidence. Lynch was really confident to kick it in his direction, and he did the rest. As I said, he's set himself for a massive year this year through his training in the off-season and pre-season so far, so hopefully that can translate.
Number of opportunities so far. Can he steer that one through? No, he's hit the post.
Play on, shouldn't it be in the pre-season?
We were speaking about the absence of the super goals from pre-season at the halftime break, and that the rule when the ball hit the behind post that it could come back into play and be play on. That did cause some interesting moments. If there was one rule you could bring back, Steve, would it be that? Just for novelty's sake, rather than to go forward with.
Yeah, look, it creates a bit of interest. I think, people that are foreign to our game can't really understand the scoring necessarily. It doesn't make sense that the ball sort of springs back into play and goes dead. Should be live. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that one. Over the journey, we've had some interesting rules thrown
Yes.
into the mix. But
Yep.
yeah, that wasn't a bad one.
Is long with a chance. Saw Derek Egmalesi-Smith a moment ago, the former Tiger, out there for the Pies. Long's going to fancy his chances here with the breeze at his back.
Yeah, it's still pretty stiff breeze going to the right of screen, I think, which is helping the Hawks' cause in this term. I think just going long and direct, and Long's ended up on the end of it again.
So Ned Long, he lives up to his name in terms of distance with the kick, but can't find the accuracy on it. Peppering the goals here in this the fourth period of the Hawks. Imagine at fullback. Bring it in for Collingwood. Kicks to a pack, Cox among it. Brown was there for the Pies, picked up by Newcomb, who sends it toward goal for Hawthorn. It was swinging left to right, but they get a hand to it right on the last line, the Pies. Wasting no time bringing it back into play is Tom Wilson, the former Sydney Kings basketballer. Halfback for the Pies, played 4 games last season for them. Mostly in defence, sends it up the line. Cox 2 hands to it, couldn't mark. Took it up in the stoppage, freed the arms, got the kick forward, but again, it's Newcomb for Hawthorn. Handball out wide to Morrison, sells a little bit of candy, and then gets on the left, sends it to full forward. Lewis with a big run and rise. Growing in confidence every minute, Steve.
Yeah, it was great grab in between 2 Collingwood defenders. See here on the replay, bit of candy by Morrison after getting it from Newcomb, and just sets himself in between 2 and pulls down the big grab. Needs to go back just for his own confidence in the side. Just reward for effort here to go back and put it through the big sticks.
Only kicked the one. He's had a number of shots. He needed to start a few further left. He started that one too far left.
Yeah, look, we can work on that with Mitch, but that big clunk is what you want to see. If he can start doing that at the AFL level, he will be a handful. And the players will just really kick it to him with confidence, knowing that he's going to clunk them like that.
3 goals, 6 in the period for Collingwood, so they've certainly amped up the wick in terms of the scoring pressure. Noble chips it to halfback. Is Harrison Harvey, West Adelaide product to a North Adelaide product. Now back to Rusco. Into the centre of the ground, dangerous kick. Harvey left it behind. In fact, on that occasion, it was Hustwaite for the Pies, one of their VFL players out there this afternoon. Brought to ground by Lewis inside forward 50 for the Hawks. Collingwood with numbers around the footy, but it's turned over, and Morrison, who was the goal assist a moment ago, might have a chance to line up for himself here.
Oh, beautiful kick of the footy, Harry, just pressing up. That pressure was great from Lewis again. Couldn't mark it, but brought it to ground and put the Collingwood defenders under pressure. Just had to hack it out of there, and Morrison was in the right spot at the right time. Needs to go back and drill it.
As you can tell, we're going to have some kind of world record score between these two sides this afternoon with a 6-quarter game, as Morrison tries to add his name to the major scorers and can't quite.
Tell you what, it's a bit contagious. Those set shots once a few teammates have missed, and then everyone's looking at you with the ball in your hand. You feel the pressure. Geez, I better kick this one. And 9-17. Seen some outrageous scores already. A few of the practice games so far.
He's put Adelaide kicking 19 behinds earlier today to go down to the Suns. It was certainly an interesting one. Scrimshaw at halfback for Hawthorn trying to set them up. They have moved the footy a lot better here in this second half, or the fourth of these 6 periods. Rusco with a goal for Collingwood. Lewis picks it up, tries to throw this one around the corner and snap it at goal, and it's off hands on the way through and out for a throw-in. Looking forward to seeing Will Kelly for Collingwood, who's been lurking around on the bench here in this second half. Just hasn't had a run at it through injury, but he's a tantalising prospect.
Yeah, well, really exciting for him to get out there finally for himself and the Collingwood supporters and get a clear run at it this year, hopefully.
Wood, a little handball at the stoppage to Howe. Can he find the answer? He can't either. That one's hit the post on the way through. So plenty of behinds here for Collingwood. 9 of them in the term, and they're doing it every which way.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not putting it on the scoreboard as much as what they should, but I think they should be pleased with how they're controlling this game and pinning Collingwood into their own back half so far during this 4th term.
Now they have more scoring shots, which is rather remarkable the way the game's unfolded. Kruger, we know he's got such a leg on him. He sends it to half forward. Cameron. That's a towering mark right on the 50. Can he go the journey from here? Probably not back into the wind. Going back with some kind of purpose, though. Big fella, the ex-Swan. Just pitching wedges it toward goal, and it was pretty easy picking for Big Ned Reeves. He didn't stand out at 209 centimetres, certainly would because of the yellow boots. Up the wing, Jekka with a run at it. Hustwaite there for the Pies. Rusco, he's got a pretty brightly coloured pair of boots of his own. Collingwood force it forward. Callum Brown sets chase after it. His handball all stolen by Morrison. Might have spent it before he had it. Poulter now to Henry, flying shot. That won't get there.
It's a little bit scrappy, both sides. Got the younger players out there. And fatigue starting to kick in. Just game slowing down a little bit, but once you get fatigue, you can make more mistakes.
Ranger Barras brings it in. Going to be cut off here by Aiden Begg. Collingwood's 2 mid-season draftees last year out of Ringwood. Had the shoulder injury as it taped up. Sends it into the centre for Callan Wellings. Kicks inside 50. It's all Hawks at the back. Ranger Barras left it behind. Shields threw a boot at it. Rumbles around inside the 50 for the Pies. Poulter has a go. Still Collingwood with plenty of pressure around the football. Cooper Murley's in there, another of their young South Australian products. That's all the Hawks in defence. They'll be able to clear here. Lovely switching kick, and Shields runs onto it. It's dropped in the bucket in front of him. A couple of minutes to go here in this 4th period. Joel Peterson and Steve Gillam with you on KO Sports. Friday evening footy. This practice round of games before the community series next week, and the real stuff in a couple of weeks' time in the 2022 AFL season. Bramble with some dash off halfback. 2 bounces for the Williamstown product. Sends it inside the 50 to kick let him down.
It's the game being played in the arc at the moment. Hawthorn prepared to be a little bit more slower and more measured with their build-up. Just can't connect. Had a really good term. Now they need to close this quarter out by not letting the Pies come back late, kick a late couple of goals.
Looks like there is Will Kelly, who takes the free from the outer side and sends it forward. Reeves stands in the way for Hawthorn. An easy target to pick out. Kelly will have another go here. Handball toward the boundary line. Noble toes the chalk. Kept it in. Handball back was not ideal, but taken by Finlay McRae across halfback for the Pies. He goes toward Draper. That was run down by Howe. Howe now a handball on for Collingwood, or for Hawthorn, I should say, and they almost mark it up. Draper's in there on the tackle. McGuinness for the Hawks. They'll try and surge it forward late in this 4th period. Warple with the step, and then swings onto the right boot. That's a lovely delivery. Jekka couldn't pull it in. Trying to go through it, half forward, the former Hawk in Phillips, who's making sure the umpire knows he's trying to get rid of that ball. It was like he was chipping away at solid rock with a pick. Just trying to hack it out of his own hands. Reeves reaches up in ruck. Moore was held without it, and Dylan Moore's going to get a free kick.
It's always dangerous, always on the move. That's how you got to be when you're small forward in those forward lines, just making your defenders defend, making them nervous. A lot of times they get done for just grab of a jumper. That's all the umpire needs to see. And Dill can just go back and hopefully suck some juice out of the clock as we sort of run down to the end of this fourth period. Needs to kick truly.
7 consecutive behinds for the Hawks. Make it 8. Not quite for Dylan Moore, who's already got 2 goals. One of them coming in this term. So right on the end of this fourth period. Let's imagine Walters in. It's going to be drawn to a close. So 4 in the books